Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 14 Op Hus. Chapter 261. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Whatever you say. I am dead, and I will rescue you. Luffy shouted angrily while looking at Ace on the execution stage. Shouting out his beliefs, Luffy rushed into the battlefield. The pirates and marine once again fought fierce battles, except for the battle between Dragon and Quentin Terran and the captain of Shichibukai and Whitebeard. There was no Admiral-class combat power to participate in the battle, and the battle was deadlocked, but neither Whitebeard nor Marine dared to relax. Whitebeard waited a few minutes before Ace was executed to launch the general attack. Marine, on the other hand, is waiting for an opportunity, a time to finally close the net. The battle became more fierce. Marine has tens of thousands of soldiers in naval headquarters, and the total of more than 40 warships under the command of the Whitebeard pirates is no more than 30,000. The decline of Whitebeard's side is beginning to appear, and Whitebeard knows very well that he can't delay it anymore, he must find the right time. At this moment, a figure appeared behind Whitebeard. Advertisement. Huh, Skiyard. Are you okay? I contacted you just now. Whitebeard looked at Skiyard and asked casually. Sorry, old man, Skiyard said. Daddy, the pirates under his command have suffered heavy casualties. All the fighting power is fully charged, and the enemy is chasing from behind. Yeah, that's something I can't ask for. I'm going to be dispatched too. I must break the enemy line directly. Whitebeard said in a deep voice. That's true. We are all grateful to you, and we will go through fire and water for the Whitebeard pirates. Skiyard said. Whitebeard's attention was all placed on the execution stage, and he didn't notice that Skiyard was speaking while he took a few steps forward and walked in front of him. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Skiyard, what are you doing there? Marco, who was not far away, wondered. As for Sengoku on the execution stage, a flash of light flashed in his eyes. The time he was waiting for, the time for Marine to close the net, was about to come. What an idiot. This kind of person can actually live to this day without being stupid by himself. Mu Feng said with his face covered, a little admiring how Sengoku got in touch with this idiot. Mu Feng didn't mean to intervene, not to mention that he had foreseen that someone would come forward. Even if no one would come forward, Mu Feng would not interfere. Whitebeard and himself are not relatives, besides, he is Marine, and Whitebeard is a pirate, and his position is opposite. Advertisement. Standing in front of Whitebeard and holding a long knife, Skiyard suddenly backhanded his long knife into Whitebeard's chest. But at this moment, a figure appeared between the two, holding a long knife to block Skiyard's sneak attack, looked up at Whitebeard and smiled. Whitebeard, it seems that you are old too. Although Skiyard is your son, but it's not a reason you can't notice. With long gray curly hair, a beard on his chin, small round glasses, and a scar on his right eye, the person here is Pluto, Silver Rayleigh. At the very moment, Rayleigh joined the battle. After the Whitebeard pirates and Marine officially started the battle, Rayleigh sneaked into the battlefield and was waiting for the last chance. However, seeing Whitebeard being attacked, he could only stand up. Seeing such a scene, everyone was taken aback. Marco was the first to react, directly incarnate as a phoenix, flew on the Moby Dick, and pressed Scooter's head to the ground. Asked loudly, Skiyard, why are you doing this? Marco couldn't bear it. His partner, Squard, who was also called Daddy Whitebeard, would actually attack Whitebeard, although he didn't succeed. But Skiyard made a shot after all. Advertisement. Shut up. Isn't you the one who forced me to do this? Squard roared loudly, then looked at Whitebeard and said, Stop acting. Whitebeard, you have colluded with Marine and the others. Right. They will make sure that you, Whitebeard Pirates Group, and Ace are safe, and then destroy our group of New World pirates. Tour Knight Thomas, D. Calvin Brothers, Great Vortex Spider Squard. Compared with the Whitebeard pirates, these New World pirates are just like in the original plot. The Handsome Pirates, the Bardo Club, and the 8th Baoshui Army is the same as the Straw Hat Pirates. Strictly speaking, he is not a member of the Whitebeard pirates. It can only be regarded as a pirate group under the Whitebeard pirate group, and only the crew on the Moby Dick can truly be regarded as a member of the Whitebeard pirate group. Tour Knight Thomas, Brothers D. Calvin, I switch where? All the pirates under the Whitebeard pirate group, has Zhao, stopped fighting and looked at the mobile. What are you talking about? What's going on, Skiyard? Ao asked. We are trapped. Skiyard looked at Whitebeard and shouted, I didn't know that Ace Boy turned out to be the son of One Piece Roger. When I was taken in by you, I was alone. Do you know why? Because all my companions who were born and died for many years were killed by Roger himself. You should know how much I hate Roger. That being the case, you should make it clear to us earlier. Ace is Roger's son, and you want to protect him as the next One Piece. As early as that time, I was deceived by you, and I even called Ace brothers. You fooled me. Quote. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, Second Element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 262. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. For you, when such a special Ace was arrested, you betrayed our 43 captains of the pirates in exchange for Ace's life. The Whitebeard pirates and Ace will be saved. The Sengoku of Buddha is already I promised you, am I right? And we are still in the dark. The result. For Ace, for Whitebeard, we spared our lives and came here. Take a look, everyone, now we are Marine's live target, isn't it us? Trapped in the ice, there is no way to escape, it's a miracle to be able to stab you. I'm ready to kill me quickly, Whitebeard. Skiyard yelled cheerfully. Father, is this true? So, they really only aim at us to fight? Impossible. Absolutely not. The big pirates under the Whitebeard pirate group who were fighting also discovered the silly attack of Marine, and they suspected Whitebeard. Whitebeard betrayed his companions to Marine. On the Chambordian Islands, 130 people who had heard the video call Worm and heard this also couldn't believe their ears. Has this war been tampered with? What is the battle so far? Advertisement. That means, can't tell the winner. Just as people were talking about it, the audiovisual phone Worm's signal was suddenly cut off. For Marine, it is enough to let the people know, pirates are evil, and even their companions can betray them at any time, as is Whitebeard. And then, the people only need to know that Marine has won the final victory. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Whitebeard betrayed his companions to Marine. He is Whitebeard. Okay. We should go, too. Eustace Kid dismissed. Any pirate who knows about the sea knows that this is only Marine's lie. How could Whitebeard betray his companions? He is Whitebeard. Asshole. You are being tricked, Skiyard. How can you not believe the old man? Marco grabbed Skiyard by the collar and shouted. Even you are acting stupid, Marco. Skudard also roared. Advertisement. Whitebeard looked at Skudard, and said in silence for a while, Ace is Roger's son. This is an indisputable fact. They used this to successfully trick a man who was most easily shaken by this. Marine's strategy is indeed it's better than us. Skiyard. You are at the edge of my father and me, what a silly son. Although a stupid son, I still love you. Quote. Whitebeard knelt on one knee and directly embraced Squard in his arms. Woo, what are you kidding me? You want to take our lives. Skiyard couldn't say anything when he said that, and started crying. You are so loyal and honest, who led you astray? Whitebeard asked calmly, looking at Skiyard. But anyone can feel the anger that is suppressed under this calm voice. Yes, it's the Red Dog. He said that as long as I stab you to death, my subordinates can be rescued. BBAB, Squad hesitated for a moment, and still spoke. Whitebeard looked up and glanced at the Red Dog on the execution platform from a distance. The killing intent in his eyes, hundreds of meters away, Mufeng could feel clearly, and he could not help but glance at the Red Dog playfully. Dogs can suffer, although old, but the injured Whitebeard and the uninjured Whitebeard are completely different concepts, so please ask yourself. However, Whitebeard didn't mean to do it right away, but instead turned his gaze to Skiyard. How much you hate Roger. I know this very well. But, Skiyard, the father's debts are paid for this kind of thing, yes. How funny. Has Ace done anything to you? Get along well. It's not only Ace that is special, you are all my family. Quote. Advertisement. Looking up, Whitebeard looked at Sengoku coldly and said, I'm so young, Sengoku actually said that I betrayed my sons. Then, Whitebeard slammed a punch, and one side of the ice wall was directly blasted. Shattered, revealing the sea. The pirates in the bay can escape on the battleship at any time. For the pirates, opened a retreat. Old Fox. Looking at Whitebeard, Sengoku on the execution stage said with a gloomy expression. Seeing that the plan is about to succeed, As long as Skiyard stabs Whitebeard, then the victory of this war can be said to be completely established. But I did not expect that Rayleigh actually appeared at the most critical juncture, and Whitebeard was played. Rayleigh, do you Roger Pirates also intervene in this matter? Sengoku asked in a deep voice, staring at Rayleigh. Unlike the Whitebeard Pirates, Roger Pirates took the elite route. Several members such as Rayleigh may all have admiral-level combat power. If all members intervene, it will inevitably have an unknown impact on the direction of the war. No. The Roger Pirate group has been disbanded and will not reunite again. Just as an old friend, I can't just watch Roger's son die. Rayleigh said lightly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 263. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Sengoku breathed a sigh of relief when he heard Rayleigh's words. The words of Rayleigh alone would not have much impact on the war. But then, Sengoku thought of something, and his pupils shrank suddenly. His expression became tense. He looked at Rayleigh and asked in a deep voice, Rayleigh, what stand are you going to take to intervene in this war? Position. Of course. The Hunters Guild. Rayleigh said. Damn, sure enough. These troublesome guys really want to intervene in this war. Hearing Rayleigh's answer, Sengoku's face instantly darkened. In terms of how tricky it is, the Hunter Guild is more than 10 times more tricky than the Whitebeard Pirates. The Whitebeard Pirates has only one elderly Whitebeard. What about the Hunter Guild? Aizen Sosuke, Senju Hashirama. They are all fighting power that surpasses the 4 emperors. Advertisement. Rayleigh, have you forgotten the agreement between Marine and the Hunters Guild? The Hunters Guild is not allowed to attack Marine. Sengoku asked sharply. Yeah. We didn't mean to shoot at Marine either, just came to rescue Ace. But if Marine shoots at us, then we can't just grab it. Looking at Sengoku, Rayleigh said with a smile. Only then did Mu Feng find out. Rayleigh is also an old bastard. Such shameless words can be said without changing their colors, and the face is really thick. Hearing Rayleigh's words, Sengoku almost breathed out old blood. In that case, don't hide. Senju Hashirama, Aizen Sosuke. They are all here too. Sengoku asked in a deep voice. Chairman Aizen shouldn't be involved in today's affairs. As for the kid Senju Hashirama, I'm not sure. Although he promised me, maybe he won't come. This time, only 2 people came with me. Rayleigh didn't hide it at all. Aizen Sosuke will not come, nor will Senju Hashirama come. Hearing what Rayleigh said, Sengoku breathed a sigh of relief. If these 2 guys come together, even if Mu Feng goes all out, the situation will be very unfavorable for Marine. After all, these 2 people are both powerful men surpassing the 4 emperors level. Mu Feng and Sengoku said that Senju Hashirama is no worse than himself, and Aizen Sosuke is no different. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It is precisely because of the existence of Aizen Sosuke and Senju Hashirama that the world government is very jealous of the Hunter Guild, and has not dared to do anything. 2 other people came with Rayleigh, Shachi and Ani Lu. Shachi is not afraid, but, Thunder God, Anilu. The power of Thunder Fruit, the few invincible fruits in Devil Fruit, absolutely the peak strength of Admiral. Advertisement. The battle situation is not as simple as I expected, but it is still within an acceptable range, Sengoku thought in his heart. But at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. Whitebeard, I haven't seen you for more than 20 years. I didn't expect you to be so old. Do you want to consider becoming my blood slave, so that you can regain your youth? The voice fell, and countless bats suddenly appeared and gathered together. Immediately afterwards, Letterfield appeared in a blood-red suit. Letterfield, you escaped from Impel Down. Whitebeard frowned, looking at Letterfield and asked. Impel Down. That kind of place. How could I be trapped in Letterfield? Letterfield laughed wildly, quite wanton. Ask for flowers. Lonely Red. Letterfield, are you ready to intervene in this war too? Seeing the sudden appearance of Letterfield, Sengoku's expression turned gloomy for another third. As an older generation of Marine, Sengoku knows the horror of Letterfield very well. He alone can rival the horror existence of Roger Pirates and Whitebeard Pirates. Damn it, how did he appear here? Since I escaped from Impel Down, why not honestly find a place to hide and return to New World? Of course, I am a hunter now. And the world government has imprisoned me for 27 years, so we should also calculate this account. Letterfield said. Advertisement. 0. Letterfield joined the Hunters Guild. Sengoku's eyes widened, obviously unable to believe it. The reason why Letterfield is called the Lonely Red is because he hates to be allied with others and takes loneliness as his creed. How could this kind of person join the Hunters Guild? In the end, what happened? The dark curtain. Letterfield opened his arms and countless bats flew out of him. Soon, countless bats spread over the entire Alice Square. Countless bats even covered the sun, like a dark curtain. Letterfield. Dare you? Sengoku's face suddenly changed when he saw the dark scene, because he knew exactly what was going to happen next. But even if Sengoku wanted to stop it, it was too late. Blood trial. As Letterfield's voice fell, the bats turned into blood spears, spread all over the sky, and then pierced through the air. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 264. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ah. What is this? Damn it, can't hide it. Blood. It's blood, it's all blood. Help. The blood spear is like eyes, even if you want to avoid it, you can't do it. However, perhaps because of seeing Mu Feng sitting under the execution platform, Letterfield's offensive was very powerful, but not many Marines were actually killed, and the blood spears avoided the critical position. I didn't expect Letterfield's attack to be so weird. Fortunately, he was directly controlled by monthly reading, otherwise it would be very troublesome. Mu Feng thought in his heart. It's March 17th. To die. Letterfield, this guy. Watching Marines fall one after another, Sengoku stared at Letterfield with fire. Give it to me. At this time, a firm voice sounded. It was Garp who stood up, loosened his neckline, and said in a deep voice, "You can't let him go on, otherwise the casualties will be unimaginable." Well, then Letterfield will be handed over to you, old bastard. Sengoku nodded. Sengoku is sure to take Garp himself. Before Mu Feng has become Marine Admiral, Garp is undoubtedly the strongest in the entire Marine. Even if it is impossible to capture Letterfield again, there is absolutely no problem in stopping Letterfield before Ace's execution. Advertisement. His figure flickered, and the next moment, Garp appeared directly in front of Letterfield. Fist, bone, iron fist. The jet black armed color covered his fist and smashed towards Letterfield. But before Garp's fist arrived, Letterfield turned into a bat in the sky. The bats rushed into the air and regrouped into Letterfield. Looking at the armed color on Garp's arm, Letterfield's eyes showed a trace of fear. It's really a formidable armed color. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Humph. I'll take you back to the great undersea prison again. Garp said with a cold snort. Unlike ordinary armed colors, including Mu Feng, armament Haki is painted black and shiny, and looks like some metal. However, Garp's armament Haki is completely different. Although it is shiny, it doesn't look like metal. Garp's armed color looked like a black orb. Like black jade, it shines with a weird and gentle luster. I didn't expect the old man to hide so deeply. The title of Marine Hero is really not just talking about it. Mu Feng under the execution stage murmured. Advertisement. Marine Hero for a Marine, to a certain extent, it is more glorious than Admiral. Garp's contribution to Marine is definitely not reflected in one sentence of driving One Piece into desperation several times, capturing Letterfield and defeating the 8 treasures. It can be said that impelled down nearly half of the criminals in the 6th level of Infinite Hell. Garp personally caught it. The strength is undoubtedly strong. Not to mention anything else, relying on the armed color of this hand, the old man's combat power is absolutely standing at the top of the 4 Emperors level. It is estimated that it is not a problem to rival those who surpass the 4 Emperors level. Catch me back to the great undersea prison. Hee hee. I'm afraid you can't do it, Garp. Letterfield smiled and raised his hand to grab Garp. Blood touch. Letterfield's arm turned into a huge blood whip, and he suddenly drew towards Garp, and there were bursts of air blasts in the air. Faced with the blood lashes from Letterfield, Garp didn't change his expression at all. Armament Haki's wrapped fist directly greeted him. With just a punch, Letterfield's blood was smashed with a long whip, turned into a rain of blood falling on the ice surface, and every drop of blood corroded a pit on the ice surface. The touch of blood was defeated by Garp, and Letterfield had no surprises. He had fought Garp many times, and he didn't know how difficult Garp was. Advertisement. Bat Night Attack. With arms stretched out, countless bats attacked Garp. The bat emits a certain sound wave that the human ear cannot catch. Although the human ear cannot catch it, it does not mean that the human ear can accept it, and this kind of attack is indistinguishable. In the entire bay, whether it is marine or pirates, those who have not reached a certain level of strength are all holding their heads and rolling on the ground. Even the strong man at the general level, the look on his face is not very pleasant. Garp frowned, and the terrifying conqueror's haki vented out. When the bats that attacked Garp 1.4 were about to approach Garp, they burst into blood fog. The battle between Garp and Letterfield spread to nearly 1/3 of the bay, and the ice beneath their feet was shattered. However, the two of them were superbly used by Marine 6 styles, and they were not afraid of flying with a fruit ability. Fight on the sea. Obviously, Letterfield is not the only one who is ready to move. Isn't there any need to cover up now? In that case, let me directly destroy the entire execution platform. God's sanctions. Ainulu appeared with a golden rod in his hand and a thunder drum behind him. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 265. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Rayleigh didn't have time to stop him, and saw Ainulu raise his hand to the sky. There was a thunderbolt on the clear day, and a thick thunder and lightning struck the execution platform abruptly. Oh ha ha ha, it's so scary, the speed of light kicks. It was Kizaru who shot. At this time, the execution platform represents the face of Marine. In any case, the execution platform must not suffer any damage before execution. In the face of thunder and lightning, Kizaru's flash shot was perfect. The lightning and the lightning collided together. The next moment, the lightning burst, and the thick thunder pillar was kicked directly by Kizaru into countless thunder snakes, raging around. The execution platform was kept, but the ground around the execution platform was scorched. It's really a thunder god. It's really scary. Kizaru said in a weird voice. His tone didn't seem to care much, but his eyes were a little serious. There is no denying that Ainulu's qualifications are absolutely top-notch. In the plot, you can cultivate to the quasi-admiral level in the remote area of Kong 11 Island. Now it is brought to Qinghai by Mu Feng. After several years of growth, Ainulu's strength has definitely reached the peak of admiral. Relying on Thunder Fruit's anti-sky level, even if he played against Rayleigh, Ainulu was not afraid at all. Advertisement. It even broke the title of Thunder God, and is considered to be the Hunters Guild's fourth major power after Aizen Sosuke, Senju Hashirama, and Rayleigh. Kick at the speed of light. Kizaru kicked out the speed of light again. The goal this time is Ainulu itself. Ainulu's brows wrinkled unnoticeably, and the next moment, he turned into a thunder and lightning, avoiding Kizaru's attack, and the ice at Ainulu's feet shattered. Immediately afterwards, countless lasers shot at Ainulu, but Kizaru's attack was caught by Ainulu the moment he had this idea. In addition to the fruit ability, the most abnormal thing about Ainulu is his observation haki. Especially after combining with Thunder Fruit's abilities, not only the range is greatly increased, but it can even reach the level of mind reading relying on weak electric waves. Of course, at the level of Ainulu, he can only read a few thoughts. But this is very useful in top battles. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. To be honest, even Mu Feng is a little jealous of Ainulu. Using elemental abilities, Ainulu ascended into the sky, looking down at Kizaru under the execution stage, and said with a slight anger, "Monkey in yellow clothes, you angered me. Now I am very angry, let you feel Thor's wrath." As Ainulu spoke, spreading his arms, the thunder snake appeared from him. Advertisement. Intertwined and shot out, rushing to the sky quickly. No one noticed. I don't know when. Malin Vando's sky is already covered with dark clouds. Following Ainulu, the razor was poured into the clouds. Let you see the true power of Thunder Fruit. As Ainulu's voice fell, the clouds that were originally calm began to surge. Thunderclouds obscured the sky. Hey, this is not a joke. Looking at the thunderclouds in the sky, Kizaru's expression was more serious than ever, and he also felt the seriousness of the situation. Looking at Mu Feng on the side, he cast his gaze for help. The meaning is very simple. I can't stand it a little bit, help me, boss. However, It was directly ignored by Mu Feng. Kizaru, an old fox, is definitely not weak. Although Analu is strong, it is not to the extent that it can threaten Kizaru. It is 50 to 50 at most. It's terrible. It's worthy of being called the most invincible fruits. Aokiji stared at the thundercloud in the sky with a solemn expression. For Analu, even if he wanted to make a move, he didn't dare to make a move. You must know that ice is a conductor of lightning. Didn't he go up to find death? Ordinary marines and pirates looked at the sky, completely dumbfounded. The power of thunder and lightning has been the most intimidating since ancient times. God's condemnation, punishment, punishment. This is the meaning of thunder and lightning since ancient times. Advertisement. Let's fall. Wanlei. The golden rod in Analu's hand pointed to the earth. In an instant, countless thunder and lightning suddenly burst from the thunderclouds, cutting through the gloomy sky, and 677 began to blast towards the ground, covering the entire Malin Vando. But at this moment, a golden light appeared directly below the center of the thundercloud. It's Kizaru. Elemental appears in midair. Bashachong Guyu Imperial Palace. Some wretched voice sounded. Immediately afterwards, countless dazzling golden light bullets shot out from Kizaru, the thundercloud pouring into the sky, penetrating the thundercloud, and forcibly destroying most of the thundercloud. Damn. Monkey. You actually destroyed my thundercloud. You will regret it. When the thundercloud was destroyed by Kizaru, Analu became really angry. The figure suddenly flashed and reappeared, already standing under the broken thundercloud. Raising his hand, the infinite thunder and lightning flooded into the thundercloud. Now, Analu is going to play a big one. I knew I wouldn't let him do anything wanton. Mu Feng under the execution stage looked at Analu with a helpless expression on his face. Accept Thor's trial. Ultimate Lei Ying. Analu roared angrily. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 266. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As Analu's voice fell, the broken thunderclouds began to slowly condense. The originally loose thunderclouds gradually became solid, and then shrank inward, becoming a huge ball with a diameter of hundreds of meters. Thundercloud. And Analu's action of infusing thunder and lightning is not over. In everyone's horrified gaze, an even larger, extremely large spherical thundercloud with a diameter almost equal to that of the entire Marlin Vatican appeared. What is this? Seeing this scene, whether it is marine or pirate, the brain is blank. Just feel buzzing. Is the end coming? Lei Ying is Analu's strongest move. He could only use the Ark's proverbs to create a thundercloud and then release the thunder and lightning. But now Analu is many times stronger than in the plot. Advertisement. The release of Lei Ying naturally no longer requires the use of Ark's motto. Moreover, compared to Lei Ying in the plot, I don't know how many times stronger it is. Such a terrifying attack. Is this really the power that humans should have? Destroy it. Ultimate Lei Ying. Analu stood in the air like a god of thunder, with the golden rod in his hand pointing to the ground. The huge ball-shaped thundercloud began to fall slowly. This slowness is not really slow. With Lei Yun's terrifying body shape, it does look like a very slow feeling from a distance. But in fact, the speed of thundercloud's descent has completely exceeded. Imagine. However, within a few breaths, it has dropped by nearly a kilometer. The people of Malin Vando can already feel the electromagnetic force generated by thunderclouds, and electric currents have begun to appear on all metal weapons. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Damn. Never let this thing fall. Diaresis. On the execution stage, Sengoku's expression became extremely ugly, and he could feel the power of destruction contained in the thundercloud. If it is allowed to fall, the entire Malin Vander will be destroyed once. Except for the combat power above the admiral level, absolutely no one can survive. Even a lieutenant-level powerhouse who is proficient in armament hockey, but as long as armament hockey has not been able to break the boundaries, there is no possibility of survival. Armament hockey can attack Logia Devil Fruits-capable persons, but it does not mean that it can defend against Logia-capable persons' attacks. Imagine how many pirates New World has mastered armament hockey. If armament hockey can even defend against Logia's attacks, then Marine 3 Admiral is not 3 Admiral, but 3 Soft Persimmons. Of course, if armament hockey can break the boundaries, it's a different matter. Advertisement. Without any hesitation, Sengoku directly changed into the form of a big Buddha. Push out with both hands, and the golden shock wave blasted out of the hands. In addition to Sengoku, Whitebeard also worked on it at the same time. After all, below Lei Ying, besides Marine, there are many crew members of the Whitebeard pirate group. 2-4 Emperor's level powerhouses shot, the golden shock wave and the white shock force, abruptly shattered the huge spherical thundercloud, thunder and lightning raged in the air, and even a few thunders tore the sky. It was terrifying, but after all, it didn't fall to the ground. Looking at the destroyed thundercloud, below, both the pirate and Marine breathed a sigh of relief, feeling like a survivor. Whitebeard and Sengoku teamed up to destroy Thundercloud. Looking at the two of them, Analu's face was extremely gloomy. Lei Ying's move was not something he could use casually. He needed a long time to prepare. Marine won't give him this time again. You damn. Looking at Sengoku, Analu raised the golden rod in his hand. I can't let you shoot so casually anymore. At this moment, a voice sounded, and then a golden laser pierced Analu's chest directly. The big mouth of the bull pierced through the wound, and the side of the back could be directly seen from the front. It was Kizaru, who took advantage of Analu's anger and attacked. Advertisement. But soon a layer of thunder and lightning appeared on the wound. In the next second, it is completely restored. Analu is not a fool, and has maintained an elemental state from the beginning of the battle. With a flick of the golden rod in his hand, a lightning strikes Kizaru. When the lightning hit Kizaru, his body turned into countless light spots, completely ignoring the lightning attack of Analu. The first match between the two ended without a problem. Kizaru couldn't hurt Analu, and Analu couldn't hurt Kizaru. The next was the showdown between Shining and Lei. The lightning and thunder in the sky are intertwined into a big net. The battle between Analu and Kizaru is a battle at the speed of light, and the eyes can no longer catch it. In theory, the speed of lightning is slightly slower than the speed of light, but it is only a few millimeters apart, and light can only travel in a straight line. Thunder and lightning are flexible and changeable. Coupled with the violent attack power, in general, the flash fruit it's a bit worse than thunder fruit. However, compared to Analu, Kizaru's combat experience is more than rich. It is almost a few blocks away from Analu. For a while, the two are equally matched. Although Kizaru blocked Ani Road, but Sengoku's face was not so good. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, Second Element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 267. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. With the full strength of Marine and the reinforcements of the army, Sengoku thought that destroying the Whitebeard pirates was only a matter of hand. Sengoku even considered the probability that Red Hair pirates or Beasts pirates would intervene in this war, but never thought that the Hunter Guild and the Revolutionary Army would intervene in this war. Quentin Terran confronted the dragon, Garp and Letterfield fought in the dark, Analu and Kizaru were invisible in the fight, Fujitora was entangled by Sabo and Marco, and Rayleigh had to separate. An Admiral-class combat power to deal with. As for an uninjured Whitebeard, at least 2 Admiral-class combat power must be divided, and the 2 are expected to be beaten by hanging. At this moment, in addition to Mu Feng, there are 3 Admiral-class fighters, Akadog, Aokiji, and Scorsese, under the execution stage. That is to say, all 3 of them must play. 7 warlords of the sea stroked one by one, and there was no way to count on it. As the marshal, Sengoku had to sit on the execution stand and was unable to play. The war that was originally won, 063 suddenly became unpredictable. The current situation is worse than Sengoku's worst-case scenario. Sengoku couldn't help but cast his gaze on Mu Feng, who had been sitting under the execution platform from the beginning. Sengoku knows that Mu Feng's strength is very strong, even those who have surpassed the 4 Emperors level are not Mu Feng's opponents. Mu Feng alone can definitely match the 5-4 Emperors level powerhouses, as long as Mu Feng takes the shot. Marine will never lose in this war. However, Sengoku had not considered letting Mu Feng take action before, because Ace is Mu Feng's younger brother, and Mu Feng was able to appear in Oris Square on the sunrise of the execution, which has exceeded Sengoku's expectations. As for letting Mu Feng take action to block the Whitebeard pirate, the regiment rescued Ace. Sengoku never expected it. Advertisement. Even Garp, if it weren't for Letterfield, was the pirate who had been caught in the great undersea prison with his own hands. Garp would not have acted. Beige. But now the situation is out of control. If anyone else can suppress this out-of-control situation, Sengoku can think of, only Mu Feng is left. If Mu Feng makes a move, Marine will surely be able to re-establish an overwhelming situation. Sengoku cast his eyes on Mu Feng, opened his mouth, but didn't say anything. What did Sengoku say? Mu Feng was ordered to stop him until Marine's execution was completed. Sengoku is very clear about Mu Feng's character. If he said so, it might have the opposite effect. It is possible for Mu Feng to directly attack the execution stage and save Ace. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. But at this moment, Mu Feng slowly stood up and said, "Marshal, let me play next. After all, first am Marine Admiral." Although Mu Feng's voice is very soft, it can be heard clearly throughout Olis Square. Whether it's a pirate or Marine. As soon as Mu Feng's voice came out, all the battles in the entire Olis Square stopped like pressing the pause button. Everyone looked at Mu Feng at the bottom of the execution platform, and then Marine's eyes were happy, while the pirate's eyes were a little afraid. Advertisement. The strongest in the world Marine White Bear. Is it finally going to be shot? The expression on Sengoku's face was stunned, nodded, and said, "Okay. If you make a move, Mu Feng, then the victory of this war is determined." At the same time, looking at Mu Feng's gaze, he was very pleased. In Sengoku's view, Mu Feng has finally grown up and shouldered the glory and responsibility that belonged to Marine. This war is over. I can finally relieve the burden that belongs to Marshal Marine. Standing at the bow of the mobile, Whitebeard looked at Mu Feng, who stood up, with an expression on his face that was unprecedentedly solemn. Whitebeard knew his own physical condition best. Decline in physical strength. Let's not talk about it for the time being. The dark wounds in the body were tormenting him even more. During the period when the distance was the highest, the combat power absolutely dropped by 40 to 50%. As for the strength of Mu Feng, Whitebeard is also very clear. 5 years ago, he drew with himself, or in other words, already won a vague victory. Now, 5 years later, no one knows how far Mu Feng has grown, but he has become weaker than 5 years ago. Facing Mu Feng, Whitebeard didn't even have the confidence to beat him 10%. Advertisement. However, Whitebeard didn't mean to shrink at all, and he didn't have a trace of fear. He was Whitebeard. When faced with an enemy, there was no fear. And how can his own son, who is still kneeling on the execution platform, shrink back? Fight! Marine White Bear! Whitebeard yelled. Turning red, Conqueror's haki raged out, and Whitebeard squeezed his physical potential, exploding into the combat power of the peak period. However, after this battle, Whitebeard will undoubtedly die. Father. When Marco and others saw Whitebeard in this state, they all understood what they were doing. The offensive against Marine became more and more violent, and they even pressed Marine to fight. Rayleigh, who was also standing on the mobile, looked at Mu Feng with doubts in his eyes. Others may not know, but Rayleigh knows very well that Mu Feng has released a mission to rescue Ace in the Hunters Guild. If this is the case, why should he try his best to stop him? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, Second Element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 268. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. If Mu Feng doesn't make a move, Rayleigh is quite sure to save Ace, but with Mu Feng's move, everything is unpredictable. Also, why the kid Senju Hashirama hasn't come yet? Suddenly Rayleigh thought of something and his eyes widened. The White Bear chose to take the shot, and Senju Hashirama, a small and slow one, did not show up. Could it be? These two guys are calculating something. Rayleigh is very worried, not about his own safety. Although his strength is declining, the more Rayleigh has not seen people, Senju Hashirama will not calculate himself. Rayleigh was worried that the plan to rescue Ace would fail. What the hell does this brat want to do? Garp murmured. For Mu Feng, the entire pirate world could not find anyone who knew him better than Garp. Absolutely a lawless, reckless character. Mu Feng, Luffy, Ace, the feelings of these three brothers Garp also knows very well. Hearing the news of Ace's arrest, Mu Feng directly hit Mary Geoise, or robbed Ace from Impel Down. Garp would not be surprised. Advertisement. But for a whole month, Mu Feng did not move. And now, he was going to deal with Whitebeard again. How could Garp not be confused? Hey, there's a good show to watch now. Letterfield, who was across from Garp, suddenly smiled and said, Garp was taken aback, watching Letterfield look towards Mu Feng with an unexplained smile in the corner of his eyes. My eyes widened suddenly. A lot of thoughts popped up in my mind. In the Great Undersea Prison, Letterfield fought against Mu Feng, and then Letterfield joined the Hunter Guild. It stands to reason that Letterfield has just escaped from the Great Undersea Prison. Even if he hates Marine, he should be dormant for a while. Accumulate enough strength, and then seek revenge from Marine. How could it be possible to shoot so quickly, and still as the Hunter Guild? You know, to make an alliance with someone or to join an organization. In the past, Letterfield was the most disdainful behavior. Garp would not think that Letterfield was in the Great Undersea Prison for a long time, so he turned sex. Mu Feng is a member of the Hunters Guild, and after playing against Mu Feng, Letterfield did not even hate the Hunters Guild, but chose to join the Hunters Guild. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If there is nothing tricky in this, Garp wouldn't believe it. Regardless of Garp's usual care, it gives people a sense of no-brainer, thinking that Garp is the same as Luffy's intellectual arrears. Garp just doesn't bother to pay attention to those sloppy things in Marine. If you are a fool, Garp is definitely an old fox. Think about the time when the Hunters Guild first appeared. It was when Mu Feng, the stinky boy, became Lieutenant General Marine and stationed in the Chambord Islands. Advertisement. Is there really such a coincidence in this world? Killing Garp would never believe that there would be such a coincidence in the world. What the hell does this brat want to do? Suddenly, Garp discovered. I used to think that the kid Mu Feng was the one who relieved me the most and comforted me the most, but now I realized, he was blind. Garp has a feeling that the kid Mu Feng plots bigger than the kid Long. Forget it. Ask this kid again after today. Garp thought to himself, although he guessed that Mu Feng might have any plans that might affect Marine. But Garp didn't mean to stop Mu Feng. Because Garp knows that no matter what Mu Feng wants to do, as long as the plan is not disrupted, Ace will definitely be saved. Garp, more than anyone, wants to see Ace die. Ask for flowers. As the white bear going to make a move, Long looked at Mu Feng's gaze, becoming more solemn, because he found that things were getting a little wrong. But at this moment, he couldn't bother to think about what's weird in it. Quentin Terran had once again attacked him with the battle axe in his hand, like a thunder. Advertisement. Whitebeard's Conqueror's hockey unscrupulously released, and the sky of Malin Vander was gloomy again because of the anger of the King of the Sea. Looking at Whitebeard, who was intent on fighting, Mu Feng raised a slight smile on his mouth and murmured, "It seems that Whitebeard is really angry right now. Hey, I hope you can hold it. Right. AKA Inu. Then I will act first. Kaido, Blackbeard, don't let me wait too long, come and die." Looking at the entire battlefield from the side, the red dog suddenly chilled and frowned, thinking it was an illusion. As a person with the ability of lava fruit, how could he feel cold? Even if it is completely frozen by Aokiji, it won't feel cold. As everyone knows, he has been calculated by Mu Feng. 3 seconds of silence. When everyone thought that Mu Feng would meet Whitebeard soon, Mu Feng suddenly raised his head and looked at the Gate of Justice in the distance. Although everyone was puzzled, their eyes followed Mu Feng to the Gate of Justice. Then, they saw a thrilling scene. I saw that the Gate of Justice, which was towering above the sea, was directly shattered. And a huge Buddha statue with angry eyes sitting in the sea, like a god like a demon. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, Second Element novel can be read at HotMTL Novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 269. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The Gate of Justice was smashed. Everyone who saw this scene was thrilled, and their minds were blank, just feeling buzzing. The gates of justice that stand in the world were built by the world government 800 years ago using black technology like technology. Each of them took dozens or hundreds of years. To build the gates of justice is even more exhausting. How many laborers are there? From the day it was built, the Gate of Justice has symbolized the portal and face of the world government. The majesty of the world government is displayed across the sea. The Gate of Justice is very strong, and the full attack of the Admiral-class powerhouse is hard to shake, and the 4 Emperors-class powerhouse also cannot destroy the Gate of Justice by 4 Emperors. Today, the Gate of Justice has been smashed directly. Shattering and shattering Kai are completely different concepts. 2 doors of justice, each of which was blasted into 7 or 8 petals, and then I don't know where it was blown away. The Gate of Justice represents the face of the world government. Being smashed into pieces like this is simply smashing the face of the world government. Advertisement. Who the hell is it? Actually dared to provoke the majesty of the world government. There is a person standing on the huge angry Buddha statue. Although his face cannot be seen from a distance, no one does not know his identity. Senju Hashirama, the vice president of the Hunter Guild, suppressing the 4 Emperors level powerhouse, is said to be able to fight the world's strongest white bear undefeated and surpass the 4 Emperors level powerhouse. Smash the Gate of Justice. This kid really dare to do it. Looking at Senju Hashirama, Rayleigh's mouth twitched. He knew that Senju Hashirama was a lawless lord, but he didn't expect Senju Hashirama to be so unscrupulous. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Could it be that this kid is going to fight against the world government? Think about it. It's really possible. Suddenly, Rayleigh felt like he was being trapped. The kid Hashirama took this opportunity to attack the world government. What can he do? I can only bite the bullet and do it. After all, anyway, the cause of this incident was also because I asked this kid to help rescue Ace. Rayleigh has the urge to sigh up to the sky and curse Mom for selling criticism. He felt that he had been falling into the pit all his life. In the first half of his life, he was the pit of Roger, and in the second half of his life, he encountered the great pit god Senju Hashirama. Advertisement. It's really horrible. It actually smashed the Gate of Justice. Those 5 old guys, I'm afraid they will be crazy now. Letterfield laughed softly. He suddenly felt that surrendering to Mu Feng didn't seem to be a bad thing. At least such a lawless lord, he had seen him for the first time in more than 100 years. Hunter's Guild, White Bear. I hope nothing will happen. Looking at the huge angry Buddha statue, Long murmured worriedly. For some reason, Long's heart suddenly felt a sense of powerlessness. In the face of such a strong man, I am afraid that one person can destroy the entire revolutionary army. This is just the vice president of the Hunters Guild. What kind of behemoth is the Hunters Guild? The foundation of the world government is definitely not worse than the Hunters Guild. Can your own revolutionary army fight against this existence? I'm afraid that in the eyes of the world government, his behavior is just a trifle. Ainalu, who was fighting Kizaru, glanced at Senju Hashirama in the distance, with a trace of fear in his eyes. In the past few years, he has not challenged Mu Feng, but every time he was beaten to death. Now Ainalu has accepted his fate, and under Mu Feng's hand, he has not felt any bondage. It is simply delicious to eat apples. Advertisement. He. I'd better not intervene in this kind of battle. Looking at Senju Hashirama, Kizaru shrank his neck and said, and fought Ainalu again. Killing Kizaru wouldn't provoke Senju Hashirama, dare not. And now he is playing against Ainalu, and he can't get out of it. Senju Hashirama, you Hunter Guild, do you want to declare war with the world government? Looking at Senju Hashirama, Sengoku roared loudly. Controlling the real number under his feet Senju, Mu Feng. No, it should be said that Mu Feng's wood clone came to the entrance to the Bay of Malin Vando. This wood clone was created by Mu Feng with great effort. Although the essence has not changed, Mu Feng can be released at any time. 0.8 But the chakra in this wood clone is super scary. Even if it's a sage art wood style like the real Senju on top of Wyo, it's very random to release dozens of times. As long as you don't fight for a few days and nights with a powerful person beyond the 4 Emperors level, you will never. There was a little question. I can't help it. Senior Rayleigh has been in the Hunters Guild for several years. I haven't paid anything. I finally asked me once. I can't refuse it. Or, Marshal Sengoku, let's discuss it. You let Ace go, I didn't say anything, and got off right away. How? Looking at Sengoku, Senju Hashirama asked with a smile. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 270. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Standing on the mobile, Rayleigh, hearing Senju Hashirama's words, was full of black lines. Now he doesn't want to carry this pot anymore. Hearing Senju Hashirama's words, Sengoku had blue veins on his forehead. Faced with the threat of Senju Hashirama, even if all Marines of Marin Bando died in battle, Sengoku would never compromise. This is an insult to the whole Marine. Sengoku glowed with golden light, apparently preparing to be tough with Senju Hashirama. Marshal, Senju Hashirama, leave it to me to deal with. The execution platform still needs you to guard. Mu Feng said suddenly. He can't let Sengoku shoot. What if he accidentally rammed him to death? And this is not in line with my plan. Hearing Mu Feng speak, Sengoku hesitated and nodded. To be honest, Sengoku did not have the confidence to withstand Senju Hashirama's attack. At least the blow that Senju Hashirama smashed the gate of justice just now, if 11 hits himself, he can definitely blow himself up. Advertisement. Raising his hand, spreading his 5 fingers, squeezed slightly, Miyabe village appeared in his hand. Looking at Senju Hashirama, Mu Feng smiled and said, Brother Hashirama, is this battle really inevitable? I don't want to fight you. It makes me want to fight with you like a pervert, but there is no way. Senior Rayleigh has begged me, I can't ignore it. Senju Hashirama shrugged helplessly. Then there is no way. Let's fight. Mu Feng said. To be honest, Mu Feng really hurts. In front of so many people, talking to myself, and showing the appearance of an old friend, seemed too mentally retarded and too ashamed. Fortunately, no one knows, otherwise Mu Feng would definitely die. The moment the voice fell, Muramasa's slashing blow had already been slashed out, and his sword energy surged. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The pitch-black slash pierced the sky and attacked Senju Hashirama. The sword intent of the slash, even the sky was cut. The people in the bay, just looking at this slash, could feel the tingling all over, and their faces were full of shock. What a slash was this, it was so terrifying to such an extent. Even if it is such a strong man as Whitebeard, Quentin Tarrant, Rayleigh, Dragon, facing this slash of Mu Feng, they felt a sense of powerlessness in their hearts. How can Senju Hashirama resist? Advertisement. Everyone's eyes were cast on Senju Hashirama, who was standing on top of Senju's head, and Senju Hashirama's face did not show any panic. Seeing the slashing attack, Senju Hashirama's mouth curled up slightly, full of superior demeanor, when the slashing was only a few hundred meters away from him. Suddenly, his hands began to seal quickly, and his hands were full of shadows. In Setsuna, the complicated handprints have been completely finished, and Senju's right hand in front of him raised a grimace-like shield with fangs, extremely vicious. Sage Art Wood Style Wood Expulsion Jutsu. Wood Expulsion is the legendary artifact of Senju Guanyin, and the angry Buddha statue summoned by the real number Senju is also the Guanyin Buddha statue. It is natural to hold Wood Expulsion. And in the state of holding the true number Senju, Wood Expulsion's defensive power is increased several times. You must know that Wood Expulsion is absolutely defensive. In the Naruto world, Senju Hashirama used this technique to prevent Madara's beasts even more without any damage. Mu Feng's slash hit the Wood Expulsion, and waves of air burst out. Hundreds of meters high tsunami-level waves were set off on the sea and swept in all directions. If Aokiji didn't take another shot, I'm afraid Malinvander would be submerged. Steady your body. Everyone is looking at Senju Hashirama. Everyone wants to know whether Senju Hashirama can handle such a terrifying slash of the white bear. Advertisement. A deep groove appeared on the huge Wood Expulsion held in the hands of the true number Buddha statue, which was obviously left by Mu Feng's slash. In other words, Senju Hashirama held Mu Feng's slash. With such a terrifying slash, Senju Hashirama actually carried it down. It seems that the rumors are true that Senju Hashirama has the strongest strength in the world. My slash just now was almost full, and I didn't expect to be blocked by 290. Brother Hashirama's strength is still so strong. Mu Feng said with emotion. I have almost done my best. I didn't expect it to be able to stop Mu Feng's slash. Fortunately, it was just one slash. If there were 2 or 3 slashes, I guess I would not be able to hold it. Mu Feng, since we are all it's a person of ability, why don't you come to compete with fruit ability, how about? Senju Hashirama looked at Mu Feng and asked. Hearing the conversation between Mu Feng and Senju Hashirama, everyone was stunned. For such a terrifying offensive and defensive just now, neither of them did their best. If you try your best, how terrible it would be. Just think about it. Everyone felt their scalp numb. Really, 2 abnormalities. Fruit ability. Okay. No problem. Mu Feng nodded. The village in his hand disappeared, his body ignited with a blue chakra arrogance, soaring into the sky, a full kilometer. The skeleton, muscle tissue, skin, armor, and back wings appear one after the other. Susano, holding a weapon in full form, once again descended into the pirate world. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 271. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. When Mu Feng gave up fighting Senju Hashirama with swordsmanship, Sengoku wanted to stop it because he felt there might be something weird in it, but before Sengoku could speak, Susano of Mu Feng had already appeared, and Sengoku couldn't speak anymore. What? I had to feel tense. Of course Mu Feng knew there was weirdness in this, and he made it out. Otherwise, he kept using his sword intent to blast him remotely. How could he leave the execution platform? How can Whitebeard get Ace out without leaving the execution table? Susano fluttered his wings, and in his breath, he had already hit the bay. I saw Susano's energy giant fist and the wooden giant fist of the true Buddha statue crashing together, like a meteorite hitting the earth. The power is shocking. The fists collided, and the air wave burst out, and the blower couldn't open his eyes. The place where the fists collided, even cracks appeared. This terrifying power even tore the space. Even if it is an Admiral-class powerhouse, if you want to resist this fist, it will definitely be directly booming to pieces. Spitfire blasted out. Taking a deep look at the two behemoths fighting outside the bay, Whitebeard's gaze was a bit lonely, and suddenly he felt abandoned by the times, but soon his lonely gaze gradually became firm. Even if he grew old, we must leave a name that belongs to him in this era. Advertisement. Around the bay, a huge encircling iron wall, hundreds of meters high, rose slowly, trapping the Whitebeard pirates in the bay. At this moment, the Whitebeard pirates had no way to retreat, and there was no way to enter. And the range of the shocking force did not stop, but continued to extend outward. The terrifying shocking force affected the entire naval headquarters. Seeing such an attack by Whitebeard, Sengoku on the execution stage changed his face and shouted, "Attention! Whitebeard is about to launch an attack." Seeing Whitebeard's posture, the giant John suddenly became nervous, but until Whitebeard took off his hands, John didn't feel anything abnormal in his body. But suddenly John's fell to one side. Suddenly shocked. What's the matter? Why would I lose my balance? What happened? Then Whitebeard jumped up and blasted the giant John with a punch. With just a punch, the body of the giant John was shattered, and blood was vomited in his mouth. It's about to spread to the execution stand. Go on. Destroy it. The ice layer frozen by Aokiji melted. Aokiji and Akinu were ready for a long time, and moved in response, pushing their palms out flat. I won't let you board the square, Whitebeard. There was a sudden roar. The commander of the Giants' Lieutenant General, the Giant John. The Red Dog once again blasted the meteor volcano, and the bay became a fiery purgatory. Countless warships of the Whitebeard pirate group were destroyed, and even the mobile was sunk. Advertisement. Aokiji and Akainu are not pleasing to everyone, and they are complaining, Wong how. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. He is the strongest among the marine giants, possessing the terrifying power to shake the earth. Armament hockey of 2 Admiral-class powerhouses and a 4 Emperors-class powerhouse blasted out to stop Whitebeard's shocking power. Is there an earthquake? No. Thanks to the height of the giants, the giant John can see exactly what happened. You should blame your ice. It's all to blame for your enclosing wall didn't start quickly. As a pirate, you have to decide for yourself what to believe. Don't be afraid of death. Come with me. Whitebeard roared loudly. Naginata inserted his backhand in front of him, holding the void with both hands. Looking at the giant John, Whitebeard said coldly, "Don't get in the way." While speaking, his hands were pulled off. The Naginata in his hand pointed to the execution table, and at the same time he blasted out a punch. This is not just an earthquake. Advertisement. Countless buildings around have collapsed, but the power of the earthquake has not weakened at all. Holding a huge war knife in his hand, John slashed at Whitebeard. But his chop that was enough to cut the ground was easily blocked by Whitebeard, who was holding a Naginata in one hand. The force of his hand directly shook the big sword in John's hand. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Rather, the entire island and the sea are tilted. Sengoku naturally noticed this, and how could he make Whitebeard wish, and shouted, "Kuzan Sakazuki." At the same time, Sengoku pushed out both palms flatly. Fortunately, the battle between Junshu Buddha and Susanoo was in the waters outside the bay. Otherwise, the aftermath of the battle between these two behemoths would be able to destroy the entire naval headquarters. The atmosphere was shattered and spread all over the sky. Whitebeard, who had squeezed the potential of life, launched an attack that was not inferior to the peak period. Quote. Good job, Daddy. Sengoku on the execution platform frowned and said, "This is not the time to complain. Sakazuki, you melt all the ice around the bay and activate the surrounding wall." Fufurfurfuru. Whitebeard, the old man, can really mess up. In order to avoid falling into the sea, Doflamingo set up Sky's path. Sengoku had already given the order, and Akainu didn't say anything anymore. Advertisement. Chapter 272. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Will the defensive wall be effective? That's Whitebeard. Aokiji frowned as he looked at Whitebeard, who was trapped in the bay. How is it possible? This is a special metal developed by Dr. Vegapunk. After testing, even the strength of a 10th magnitude earthquake cannot damage the defensive iron wall. Akadog said disdainfully from the side. Since the body was fitted with the prosthesis developed by Vegapunk, the combat power has not been reduced at all, and the Red Dog's admiration of Vegapunk has reached a level of no brain. He forgot that the current Whitebeard was not injured and had squeezed all his life potential. The simple explanation is that Whitebeard is now in an explosive state, a strong force. Whitebeard, who has returned to his peak, is undoubtedly a powerhouse beyond the Four Emperors level. Seeing his children suffered heavy casualties, Whitebeard's face flashed angrily, raised his fist, and blasted out with a frightful punch, shattering the space with a terrifying shock. The defensive wall facing Whitebeard's fist was directly blown away. Almost smashed the execution platform, but fortunately, he was knocked aside by Sengoku's shock wave. It's really sturdy. Aokiji glanced at Akainu 330 and said lightly. It's Aokiji. 10-15 minutes. The execution soldier stammered. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Advertisement. Whitebeard obviously wanted to make the same attack as before. Seeing the daddy so brave, the pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates are all morale, but the offense is even more brave and fearless. After crashing into several buildings one after another, Aokiji fell to the ground again, and his body was horribly blasted by Whitebeard's shock and armament hockey, but fortunately there was still a sigh of relief. Damn it! How long is the execution? Sengoku asked with a gloomy face, looking at the execution soldier on the side. Shocking power and armament hockey were wrapped in Naginata at the same time, and Naginata patted Aokiji heavily. Yes, just patted it. It's Aokiji Admiral who made the shot. If Whitebeard really makes this blow, I am afraid that tens of thousands of Marines will lose their combat effectiveness. With eyes flickering in his eyes, Sengoku hesitating whether to execute Ace in advance, but finally gave up the idea, because Sengoku didn't want to take the blame. The order to execute Ace was originally issued by 5 elders, and he was not much like the Marine-Marshal relationship. Seeing Aokiji's shot, he froze Whitebeard. The Marines were all excited, but compared to ordinary Marines, Aokiji's face was not so relaxed. Slapped Aokiji with Naginata's sword. But if he announces an early execution at this moment, it will be inseparable from him. In this way, whether it is Garp or Mu Feng, even if you don't say it, you will definitely have care in your heart. Sengoku knows that even if it is Garp, Hope Ace can be rescued by Whitebeard. Advertisement. But even though Aokiji didn't mean to underestimate Whitebeard at all, he had no idea how terrifying Whitebeard, who added anger and exploded buff, was. Looking at the long knife slammed at him, Aokiji's complexion changed drastically, and the hair on his body exploded, telling Aokiji intuitively that if he dared to resist this attack, maybe he would die. As Marine Admiral, he naturally can't let the white BBFD beard be so wanton in front of his eyes. The freezing breath hits Whitebeard, and Whitebeard is instantly frozen into ice. Trash Naval Headquarters. Remember, don't go straight in. Whitebeard roared. The power of the shock once again wrapped the Naginata in his hand. It was completely indistinguishable from the paper paste, but it was smashed into dregs by a Naginata knife. It doesn't seem to work. The shock really won't freeze. Aokiji muttered. This has nothing to do with faith, just because it is family. Sengoku didn't want his old friend's hope to be crushed by himself, so he smashed his sleeves up and made a fist. Sengoku said solemnly, in this way, we can't just let it go. And the next moment, Whitebeard's Naginata slapped Aokiji's body. Elementalization in front of armament hockey was useless, and Aokiji was shot and flew out. Crunchy. Crunchy. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. The Whitebeard pirates finally broke through the bay and attacked Olis Square. Advertisement. Ice ball. A crack appeared in the ice that had frozen Whitebeard. Frozen. Frozen Whitebeard into ice. Great. At this moment, the red dog was obviously constipated. Just after he finished blowing the strong defense wall, and his voice had not fallen, he was blasted directly by Whitebeard. All ready. Rush into the square. Rescue Ace. How dense are the Marines on Olis Square? But Aokiji does not teleport, and he is now in a state of elementalization. There is no way to use Marine 6 styles. With a thought, layers of ice appear in front of him, but the ice that Aokiji hurriedly created is in the eyes of Whitebeard. The body quickly entered an elemental state, because Aokiji knew very well that he would face Whitebeard's angry attack next, but Aokiji didn't dare to underestimate it. The Naginata in his hand was wrapped with shocking power. Whitebeard swept out, and countless Marines were directly lifted out, Whitebeard shouted. Whitebeard's face was slapped. Advertisement. Chapter 273. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. With just one blow from Whitebeard, Aokiji completely lost his combat effectiveness. In Olis's Square, everyone looked at Whitebeard in shock. Marine Admiral, but the strongest combat power of the world government. Actually, even Whitebeard can't bear a single blow. Is this Whitebeard? If the red dog dies, the task will be completed with an egg. The strongest pirate in the world. The strongest man ever in the world. You wait. I have the key here, and I will be able to rescue you soon. If Whitebeard had been so brave 5 years ago, I'm afraid he couldn't hold it back then. Whitebeard naturally noticed Luffy too, and his eyes lit up. Advertisement. The breath of life is in the body of life. It is difficult to leak out normally, like Whitebeard, although it can restore the strength of the peak period, it even faintly exceeds. Even if Whitebeard is weaker than the White Bear, it's not much weaker. He smashed a giant magma fist of the red dog and shook back countless shells. Whitebeard yelled. Boys, fully cover the straw hat Luffy. If you take care of this, you will naturally lose the other. This is not the most troublesome. The most troublesome thing is, in the brief introduction of the mission, I want to save Ace at the moment Ace kills Ace. Nima. Given Whitebeard's current bravery, if Akadog dared to match Whitebeard, it would be possible to be killed by Whitebeard's sword. At the beginning, Mu Feng felt okay. To save Ace, he had to do it. The system is simply warming himself up, but he thinks carefully. Ace, I'm here to save you. Luffy yelled, rushing to the execution platform, and the whole Malin Vander could hear Luffy's voice. Originally, Mu Feng was very happy to hear that the system released side missions. Although the god-level mall of the system is indeed very cheating, the rewards for the tasks released by the system, whether it is the main task or the side task, are extremely rich. Thinking of this, everyone's eyes are all looking at the fighting outside the bay. The figure that looks like a god now is the strongest in the world. Advertisement. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Although Whitebeard slaughtered the quartet in Olis Square, Mu Feng didn't have the idea of making a move. Mu Feng is very painful at the moment. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. But soon Mu Feng was relieved. With all the abilities of Senju Hashirama, Mu Feng could naturally clearly perceive the strong breath of life surrounding Whitebeard's body. The gunfire poured out, the Marines came out, the army formed a battle formation, and the Red Dogs attacked from a long distance, and the fighting power of the Olis Square was all out, and it was able to stop Whitebeard from advancing. Nima, it's definitely cheating. There is a problem with the task, and it is still a big problem. I want to save Ace, but I am planning to borrow the hands of the Whitebeard pirates. I don't mean to do it myself. After all, my main mission is to become the Marine Marshal, and Mu Feng is bound to get the reward for the mission. So Mu Feng never planned to abandon the identity of Marine. But now, It won't work if I can't think of it. Luffy. Get out of here soon. Ace shouted. Because Sengoku on the side has become a Golden Buddha status. Luffy, the protagonist, came under the execution stand with the help of everyone, and then the revolutionary, Lightning, Amazuna used her own ability to cut fruits to cut the ground open and set up a path to the execution. Taiwan's Bridge of Destiny. Side mission. Rescue Despair. Mission introduction. At the moment when the Red Dog kills Ace, save Ace and complete the mission. Come on, for Brotherhood. Mission completed. Reward skill Mahabhatma. Mission failed. The system has been shut down for 20 years. Close black lens bracket. Under the cover of the Whitebeard pirates, the Bridge of Destiny was not destroyed. Whitebeard alone had constrained all the high-end combat power on Olis Square, and Marine had no combat power to stop Luffy from advancing. Advertisement. Fortunately, although the Red Dog is extreme, he is not a foolish fool. Aokiji is as good as his own. Whitebeard blasted Aokiji so miserably with just one blow. If he were himself, he would definitely not be better. Luffy completely ignored Sengoku on the side and didn't know where he took out a key, which was the key to Ace's handcuffs. However, when Mu Feng saw the introduction of the side mission, it was very painful. Look for flowers. Not dying on a sick bed, but dying in a battle with a complete victory. For Whitebeard, the great pirate who has been in the ocean for his life, he is dead without regret. But it was at the cost of vitality. With Whitebeard's already old body, I am afraid that within half an hour, he would die because of exhaustion of vitality. On Mu Feng's side, although every confrontation was of a terrifying level, he did it all by himself. He was completely playing tickets. His attention was also focused on the battle in the bay. Mu Feng was also surprised by such a brave Whitebeard. Because he just took on a side mission released by the system. The Magma Fist was blasted from a long distance to intercept, and the Red Dog did not dare to approach Whitebeard, because whether it was armament hockey or the power of the earthquake, the closer the distance, the more terrifying. Advertisement. Chapter 274. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Sengoku, who became a big Buddha, glared at Luffy with a black face, and said angrily, "Stop. Don't think I will let you go. In that case, I can only solve you personally. As Martial Marine, Sengoku will never allow Ace to be rescued, because this is an insult to Marine." Jin Kankan's fist blasted towards Luffy. Although Sengoku said it was very tyrannical, but in fact, when he started his hand, the fist that blasted out was not too heavy, and he had not used armament hockey. At most, he blasted Luffy, and Luffy is a rubber fruit capable person. Throw a few hundred meters, there will be no shit. Luffy is Garp's only grandson, and, 97, is Mu Feng's younger brother. If Sengoku really kills Luffy and Ace, Garp will definitely be the first to find him desperately. Rubber eraser giant balloon. Luffy bit his fingers and blew into it, turning into a huge balloon, and bounced Sengoku away. Under the impact of the reaction, the entire execution platform was dumped to one side, and taking this opportunity, Luffy unlocked Ace's stone handcuffs. The earth cracked a deep black ravine, and the entire Aris Square was divided into two halves, with pirates on one side and Marine on the other. Whitebeard blocked all Marines alone. Save Ace back. Good job. Straw Hat. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Advertisement. What the last? Daddy. Don't say such unlucky things. Ace pulled Luffy and jumped out of the fire tunnel. Whitebeard, Rayleigh, Sabo, Marco, and the pirates of the Whitebeard pirate group, they all yelled happily when they saw Ace rescued. There is no longer a ship for me in the new era. Go on, boys. Whitebeard slammed his punch to the ground as he spoke. While talking, countless bullets shot at them both from the surroundings. You've been like this before, Luffy. You know you are messing up. Ace complained about Luffy, but smiled. But at this moment, the paddle wheel rushing towards the Marine building behind Olis Square suddenly stopped. It was Whitebeard. Wow, oops. Didn't you say you should go back to New World together? How? Luffy, can you still fight? Ace and Luffy were back to back, facing the surrounding Marine. It's a shameful shame. It would still happen if I was there. Sengoku said, very upset, but didn't mean to make another move. Advertisement. Ace, shoot. Blast the execution platform. Marines' artillery fired from all directions, and thick black smoke rose from the position of the execution platform. Rubber pistol. Fire fist and flame ring. Hee hee. Luffy rubbed his nose and said embarrassingly, "Thanks for the help of Uncle Whitebeard. The son died before Lao Su. This is the biggest filial piety. Don't you understand? Skiyard. Your sword didn't stab me at all. Life and death came here. The goal has been achieved, and we don't need to stay here anymore. I'll give. The last captain's order. Listen up. The Whitebeard pirates. He is Whitebeard. How can you wait to die on the sickbed?" One hand directly blocked the huge paddle wheel. The paddle wheel is called the paddle wheel because the paddle wheel has 2 rows of outer wheels, which can make it travel on land, which can be called a sea and land monster. Don't do stupid things. Skiyard. Are you going to die? The pirates of the surrounding Whitebeard pirate group blocked Skiyard. I never dreamed that one day you would come to save me. Ace smiled. Advertisement. On the contrary, the faces of Marines are not very good looking. Let's not listen to this. However, one of the 2 of them is a Logia capable person, capable of elementalization, and the other is a rubber fruit capable person, who can ignore bullets. Yes. Who told me to do that to my father? Even if I can't atone for the crime with death, I can only do this to be at ease. Skiyard said loudly. Hee hee, the cooperation is really tacit. To clear the way for the 2 of them, Foil Vista and Whitebeard's captains also joined the battle. Father. And everyone, run away. We are responsible for covering this battlefield. Another main battleship of the Whitebeard pirates' paddle wheel suddenly rushed into the square. Scudard shouted while standing on the paddle wheel. Just when the Marines thought that Ace had died in the gunfire, a flame tunnel suddenly appeared in the thick black smoke. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. You and I are going to say goodbye here. Everyone must live. Return to New World without incident. I am the remnant of the era. There was a trace of dismay in Whitebeard's eyes. Although he also wanted to return to New World with his children, this battlefield must be covered by someone, and most importantly, Whitebeard had already felt his body was exhausted in 5.2 degree. Luffy and Ace worked very well together, and Marine couldn't get close at all. Advertisement. Chapter 275. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I've been traveling for a long time. Hey, it's time to end it. Marine. Whitebeard looked at Sengoku and grinned. Whitebeard. Sengoku looked at Whitebeard with a gloomy face, and he could feel the death ambition in Whitebeard's voice, clouding his heart. What kind of terrifying destruction can erupt from a deadly surpassing 4 Emperors level combat power? It is simply unthinkable. Whitebeard slammed a punch, and the towering marine building was shaken with several cracks, and the earth shook violently, terribly. Wow. Is he going to destroy the entire island of Malenvander? The Marines panicked and looked terrified. Daddy. We can't keep Daddy. Let's go back together. The pirates of the Whitebeard pirate group hissed loudly. You 11 want to disobey the captain's orders. Go away. Silly boys. Whitebeard snarled loudly, knowing that he couldn't hold his body for a few minutes. Advertisement. Shelling Whitebeard. His attack is not as horrible as it was just now. It must be that the oil has run out and the lamp has died. The artillery poured out towards Whitebeard. Armament hockey covered his body, and Whitebeard pushed forward with gunfire. Now he doesn't need to worry about Ace anymore. It seems that he intends to sink the entire Marinvander into the sea and die with himself. Sengoku's forehead burst into blue veins. Whitebeard, is this going to end the era? It's really time. Garp muttered while looking at Whitebeard. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Come on, Ace. This is Uncle Whitebeard's decision. Luffy shouted while looking at Ace, who suddenly looked at Whitebeard, who was standing still. Ace's face was gloomy, and his voice said in a low voice, I understand. I won't let my father's hard work be wasted. With that, Ace directly knelt down. Boom. Ace's head hit the ground hard. Looking at Ace from afar, Whitebeard's mouth split open, and he whispered, no need to say more. I just ask you, Ace. Is this old man still qualified? Advertisement. Of course. Ace knelt on the ground, shouted. Although I closed my eyes tightly, tears still fell from the corners of the eyes. Hula la 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 la. Whitebeard laughed loudly. To be admitted by his children as a great daddy, for Whitebeard, is even happier than being the One Piece. Run. The warship has been taken down, Brother Ace. Brother Luffy. You are running ahead. Their goal is you. If you live one more, you live one more. This is my father's wish. Yelled Jinbei. At this moment, the Red Dog chased him, and a magma fist swept away all the pirates in the way, watching Ace contemptuously said. As soon as Ace was rescued, he immediately ran away with his tail clipped. What a group of cowards. The Whitebeard pirates. The captain is also incompetent. There is no way. After all, Whitebeard is just a loser of the last era. Hearing Akanu's words, Ace, who was escaping, suddenly stopped. The loser. Ace clenched his fists, turned around, and looked at the Red Dog coldly and said, retract what you just said. AKA dog. Ace. Luffy also stopped, stunned. Hey, don't pay attention to him, Ace. Don't stop. The pirates of the Whitebeard pirate group were shouting Ace. Advertisement. He even dared to insult the old man. I can't forgive it. Ace glared at the Red Dog. Although he knew this was the Red Dog's aggressive method, Ace still couldn't accept it. In order to save himself, the old man gave up his life. What? Be defeated by your biological father Roger, and ultimately missed the One Piece. The eternal loser is Whitebeard. What did I say wrong? HMPH, being sought after by a group of young men and a dad. It's a family farce, braving the majesty in the corner of the sea. The Red Dog made no secret of his contempt for Whitebeard. Shut up. Ace shivered and shouted. 967 and the Red Dog completely ignored Ace, and continued. For decades, he has dominated the sea. But he has never been the king, and he has found nothing. In the end he was almost stabbed by a fool who was deceived and called a son. Protect those idiots and die. Ahahaha. Isn't this a virtual Doran birth? Losers. Daddy created a place for us to live in. How can you understand the greatness of Daddy? Ace's body was already ablaze. Don't be fooled. Ace. Come back soon. Marco yelled, but Ace didn't hear about it. If a person does not follow the right path, there is no value to live. For you pirates, there is no need to shelter. Whitebeard will die as a loser. As the leader of the mob, this is perfect. At Ace's words, the Red Dog sneered. Whitebeard is the great pirate who started this era. The name of this era is Whitebeard. Ace roared angrily, and at the same time blasted a fist of fire at the Red Dog. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, Second Element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 276. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. AKA Inu snorted, raised his fist, and banged against Ace's fire fist. The flame met the magma, and Ace's entire arm was burnt. I thought I belonged to Logia, did you careless? Ridiculous. You are just a fire, and I am the magma that can burn all the fire. My abilities and yours are completely related to the superiority and the subjugation. AKA Dog said contemptuously. Of course, this is just what Akagi thinks. In fact, there are no upper and lower levels of magma and fire. Although the temperature of lava is higher than that of ordinary flames, the maximum temperature of lava is 2000 degrees Celsius, while flames do not. With this limitation, the flame on the surface of the sun is as high as 6000 degrees Celsius, and the core is even 20 million degrees Celsius. It can only be said that Ace's development of Mera Mera fruit is too low. Seeing Ace fell to the ground, Luffy wanted to step forward, but his legs softened and he knelt directly on the ground. Luffy was exhausted. Huh. The Red Dog also noticed Luffy, and said coldly, the sons of Roger and the Revolutionary Army Dragon turned out to be brothers. This is really amazing. Your two bloodlines are already formed a great sin. No matter who is let go today. You two brothers are definitely not allowed to let go. As he spoke, smoke billowed from Akagu's arm. Raised a giant fist of magma and blasted towards Luffy. The target of AKA Inu is not Ace, but Luffy. In the eyes of AKA Inu, Luffy is obviously more sinful than Ace. Advertisement. And at this time Luffy is better to kill, he can kill with a single punch. Seeing the Red Dog attacking Ace, everyone was stunned. Garp's eyes widened, and the veins exploded. Long even took the blow of Quentin Terran abruptly, and the whole person turned into a hurricane to attack the Red Dog. Luffy is his only son. Sabo didn't even think about it, so he rushed over. Sengoku wanted to stop loudly, but it was too late. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ace, who was on the side, had been staring at the red dog. As soon as the red dog blasted Luffy's magma fist, he did not hesitate to stop in front of Luffy. The expression of aka Inu was surprised, but the movement on his hand did not stop, because for aka Inu, Ace must also be killed. Kill Ace first, and then Luffy. Now what I think is just I adjusted the order. Of course, Whitebeard has been paying attention to Ace's movements. He was even more distraught when he saw Ace preparing to block the attack of the red dog, but he couldn't get his hand. Rayleigh also wanted to save Ace, but he was entangled like a mad dog by Scorsese, and he couldn't get out either. The corners of the red dog's mouth split open, and his face showed a grinning smile. Advertisement. He was able to see the scene where Ace was pierced through his chest by his fist in the next second, and all the sins would end in his own hands. Ah ah ah. The screams of pain resounded through the entire Olis Square. Everyone was dumbfounded, and couldn't believe the scene in front of them, because it was not Ace who screamed, but Akadog. The red dog was blasted out, and the entire right arm had disappeared. Another mechanical prosthesis was covering the wound on his shoulder, screaming and screaming on the ground. Shoot and kill my brother in front of me, I really want to ask. AKA Inu, who gave you this courage? An indifferent voice sounded. Everyone can't believe it. Because. The person who shot was actually Marine White Bear. Bai Xiong made a shot and kicked off aka Inu's entire arm with one kick. What is Bai Xiong doing? Suddenly attacked Akainu. Is it possible to defect Marine? And isn't he fighting Senju Hashirama? Everyone looked out the bay again. I don't know when. Those two monsters, like gods and demons, have disappeared. Advertisement. According to rumors, Ace is Bai Xiong's younger brother. Maybe, the White Bear will really defect to Marine in order to save Ace. With the character of the White Bear. This might be something. But if it is true, it is big news. Quote. Congratulations to the host. Complete the side mission. Rescue Despair. The mission is completed. Rewards host. Skill Mahabhatma. Hearing the sound of the system, the corners of Mu Feng's mouth raised slightly. Mahabhatma is a magical skill. Once used, it can freeze the most basic particles that make up Good King Nuo matter, achieving the same effect as freezing time and space, and even the non-material spiritual concept of thinking can be frozen. In the world of Zon Crimson Eye, the queen with this skill is simply invincible. The only drawback is that it can only be used once a day, which is more painful. Thinking of this, Mu Feng's eyes suddenly brightened, because the Mahabhatma he obtained does not seem to have this defect, so he can use it continuously. Please note that the host, although there is no restriction on the use of Mahabhatma by the host, with the current mental strength and physical strength of the host, 3 consecutive use will cause exhaustion and will fall into a coma. Please be aware of the system. Mu Feng's fantasy. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 277. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hearing the sound of the system, Mu Feng curled his lips. It really didn't work. But I was not disappointed. With such a perverted ability, it was beyond Mu Feng's imagination to be able to use it 3 times in a row. It is necessary to know that Mahabhatma can freeze for 5 seconds. That's it. Mu Feng's current strength is enough to solve any battle in 5 seconds. Seeing Mu Feng rescued Ace, Garp breathed a sigh of relief, but suddenly became nervous again. Mu Feng is Marine, and he rescued Ace on this occasion. What exactly does Mu Feng want to do? Is it true that you want to betray Marine? This is not the situation Garp wants to see. Sengoku also looked nervously at Mu Feng. This war has developed to the present situation. This is something Sengoku has never thought about. If Sengoku is asked to choose again, he will definitely stand the pressure of 5 elders also firmly will not start this war. If this incident pushed Mu Feng to the opposite of Marine, the sea that was finally suppressed would be rioted again. 227. Advertisement. Mu Feng. Ace looked back at Mu Feng, his eyes were full of disbelief. He couldn't believe that Mu Feng would rescue him at this time. Kneeling on the execution platform, Ace never complained about Mu Feng. He was a pirate, and Mu Feng was Marine and Marine Admiral. The two have different positions. Mu Feng rescued him. In Marine, he would definitely endure unimaginable pressure. Shut up. You guys used to be like this, you know you are messing up. Mu Feng said with a smile. Hearing Mu Feng say this, Ace's face flushed, because this was just what Luffy had said when he rescued him. But Mu Feng, you. Ace looked at Marine. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. You don't need to worry about my affairs, saving you will not affect me in any way. Mu Feng waved his hand and said, not caring at all. Mu Feng really doesn't care about BBCE, because he has a solution. Before Ace's execution, the system's god-level maul was refreshed again, and this time he bought a good thing. It is really suitable for this occasion. Monkey D. Mu Feng. Save the sinner Bhaskar D. Ace. Do you want to rebel against Marine? Looking at Mu Feng, the red dog roared angrily. Advertisement. What did you see? Come. Let me know. Looking at the red dog, Mu Feng suddenly showed a mischievous smile on his face, as if he was watching a clown. For some reason, when he saw the smile on Mu Feng's face, the red dog had an ominous premonition, but in full view, the red dog didn't believe how Mu Feng could explain it. I saw. White bear. What do you want to do? Kai Inu just wanted to talk, but saw Mu Feng take out a silver white stick. Mu Feng rescued Ace. It was a sensation. On the entire battlefield, even the dying Marine or the dying pirate stared at Mu Feng. And this is exactly what Mu Feng wants to see. Use the memory stick to modify the memory. Just now, aka Dog grabbed Ace and wanted to threaten Whitebeard in exchange for Whitebeard's 4 Emperor's position, but Whitebeard disagreed. Aka Dog not only let Whitebeard save Ace, he was also Whitebeard snapped an arm. Mu Feng said silently, then closed his eyes tightly, and the silver white stick in his hand burst into bright light. The glare flashed, Mu Feng opened his eyes, and the silver white rod in his hand turned into silver white metal shavings all over the floor. Mu Feng murmured a little regretfully. This kind of good thing is actually just a one-off. The consumables, it's a shame. Item. Memory modification stick. Open black lens bracket type. Consumables close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Quality. 7 stars. Remarks. From the world of Men in Black, an upgraded version of the amnesiac stick can be modified according to the host's wishes. Note. People who do not see the strong light from the memory modifier cannot be modified. Use times. Once. Close black lens bracket. The strong light is even countless times more intense than the sunlight, but the people who saw the strong light did not show a dazzling reaction, but looked a little blank. It took a few seconds to react, and his eyes all turned towards the red dog in amazement. No one thought that Akainu would rebel against Marine. He also tried to threaten Whitebeard to seize the position of the 4 emperors, even stealing the chicken without losing the rice. Whitebeard saved Ace. It was so ugly, it was a shame to Marine. Akahound. I really didn't expect you to do this kind of thing. Originally I just thought you had an extreme personality, but I didn't expect to become a 4 emperor. You were simply the scum of Marine, Marshal Sengoku. Mu Feng shouted. Akainu. I didn't expect you to do such a thing. Sengoku glared at Akainu. His eyes were full of anger, and the blue veins exploded on his forehead. How could I do this kind of thing? No. It must be your ghost. Right. White bear. You must have controlled me just now. I will do that kind of thing, right? It must be the ghost you made. The red dog suddenly reacted with a dazed face and looked at Mu Feng and roared. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 278. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. All of the people present looked at Akahound with amazement. No one could believe that the Akahu, who is Marine Admiral, would actually do such a thing, but this is what they saw with their own eyes. Who wouldn't believe what he saw? But there are 3 people, but they are dumbfounded at this moment. Because Mu Feng was placed in front of him and turned on the memory modifier, Ace and Luffy did not modify the memory because of Mu Feng's body occlusion. The other is Garp. He didn't know Mu Feng. He immediately became alert when he saw that Mu Feng took out a strange thing. Instinctively, Garp closed his eyes and naturally avoided being modified by the memory modifier. Do this kind of thing. What is it? Akagi wants to become 4 emperors. What the hell is this? Why do everyone look at Akakan in shock? It seems. No one seems to care about Mu Feng saving Ace. Wrong. I don't care about. It seems that no one knows about Mu Feng saving Ace at all. Garp glanced at Sengoku, who had turned into a golden Buddha at this moment, glaring at the red dog. The blue veins exploded. Obviously he was extremely angry with the red dog. Advertisement. Based on Garp's knowledge of Sengoku, he is definitely not cheating. Even aka Inu himself doesn't seem to remember that Mu Feng rescued Ace. What did they see? How could it become like this? Letterfield, what happened just now? Garp asked, turning his gaze to the side of Letterfield. What happened? Don't tell me that you didn't see it, or you can't believe it. The Red Dog, Marine Admiral, wants to become 4 emperors. It's ridiculous. He actually thinks that taking Ace to blackmail Whitebeard can get 4. The position of emperors and the position of 4 emperors is something Whitebeard can make to others. At this point, Letterfield suddenly stopped. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Because he found that the scene that happened just now was too weird. The position of 4 emperors is just a false name. It is the title of the 4 strongest big pirates in the New World, even if it is given to the Red Dog by Whitebeard. Without that strength, without the corresponding power, it is impossible for the Red Dog to take it. As Marine Admiral, it is impossible not to know the Akinu. The behavior of Akagi just now seemed to be a brain twitch. Looking at the staring boss Garp, Letterfield squinted slightly. Based on Garp's expression at the moment, he could be sure that there must be something weird in it. Asked aloud. What? Garp, don't what you just saw is different from what I saw. Humph. I just can't believe it. Garp snorted, eyes flickering. Advertisement. Now he can be 100% sure that this kid Mu Feng must have made a ghost and changed everyone's memory. Could it be the silver white stick just now? Mu Feng. This bastard. What does he want to do? After this war is over, we must ask clearly. Hey, it's getting more and more interesting. Letterfield showed an expression of interest, but did not continue to question Garp, because he knew that Garp would definitely not say it. But Letterfield believes that Mu Feng will tell him if he asks himself. My own efforts are already in the hands of Mu Feng. Life and death are already controlled by him. This secret will certainly not hide myself. I control you. I've been fighting Senju Hashirama just now. Mu Feng said sharply, his tone very heartache. Ask for flowers. It seems to be very sorry for the Red Dog to do such a thing. I can prove it. The White Bear has been fighting with me just now, and it seems that the White Bear's fruit ability can't control people's mind. Even if it can, when fighting with me, the White Bear can't tell the mind to control you. Besides, if the White Bear can really control others, why do you want to control your disabled Red Dog? Controlling me and controlling 5 elders is not a better choice. Being a human being, don't think too much of yourself. Senju Hashirama, who was standing next to Rayleigh, suddenly made up his knife. Advertisement. 0. Hearing Senju Hashirama's ridicule, Akagi flushed with anger, and his eyes burst into flames, but he couldn't explain it, because he remembered it clearly in his mind. I just took Ace to threaten Whitebeard, and then steal the chicken without eclipsing the rice, and there is no feeling of being controlled at all. What is going on? The Red Dog looked up and stared at Mu Feng fiercely. Suddenly, his pupils shrank suddenly, because he saw the smile that was like nothing raised at the corner of Mu Feng's mouth. It's you. The White Bear. It must be your ghost, right? Staring at Mu Feng, the Red Dog's neck was violent and roared. Aka Dog. Under the full view of everyone, you still want to quibble. Give it to the head. Depending on your contribution to Marine in the past, I will intercede with the Marshal and 5 elders for you, and will not impose the death penalty on you. Detained in the great undersea prison for decades at most. Mu Feng said in awe, as if I would try my best to help you, but the smile on the corner of his mouth grew thicker. Naturally, aka Inu can see it, and this is exactly what Mu Feng wants aka Inu to see. He wants to let aka Inu know that this is his own ghost, so that he can make aka Inu anxious. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 279. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Sure enough, the more smiling face of Mu Feng's mouth made the Red Dog more sure of the guess in his heart. He couldn't help but angered, and shouted. It's you. The White Bear. It's the ghost you made. The anger went straight to the red dog. The brain, so much that he lost his sanity. Although the only remaining arm was lost, this did not hinder the ability of the red dog. The body was elementalized into a giant magma fist, and he slammed Mu Feng heavily. He wants to kill Mu Feng, and Mu Feng snatches his position as admiral and makes him faceless. Akadog has a grudge against Mu Feng. And now, he framed himself and allowed himself to be accused by thousands of people, unless he killed Mu Feng, otherwise the red dog would not be able to vent his anger. 440. And this is exactly what Mu Feng wants to see. Red dog, what are you trying to do? Attacking your colleagues blatantly. Damn. If you don't stop, don't blame me for disregarding your colleagues' affection. Mu Feng sternly looked at the attacking red dog. Said, the arm has been wrapped in armament haki. Sakazuki. Stop it. Sengoku shouted also. However, the red dog, who had been dazzled by anger, had obviously lost his mind. Before killing Mu Feng, he couldn't listen to whoever said it. Mu Feng. Don't kill the red dog. Seeing that he could not stop the red dog, Sengoku hurriedly shouted to Mu Feng, but it was too late. Advertisement. Mu Feng's armament haki has reached the level of LVMAX-14. It is also the only LVMAX-14 level capability. In the entire pirate world, it is also unprecedented. You know, even if it is better than Garp, armament haki is the level of LVMAX-12. Mu Feng's arm covered by armament haki is like a black jade, like a god in the world, it exudes a warm, cold light. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. In the next moment, it directly penetrated Akaken's chest. After the chest was penetrated, the red dog naturally could no longer maintain the elementalization and regain the body. The red dog was still hanging on Mu Feng's arm. A mouthful of blood was spit out, but the red dog completely ignored it. He didn't even look down at the injury on his chest. Staring at Mu Feng stubbornly, the red dog gritted his teeth and asked, "Is it you? Bai Shang. Is it your ghost?" Even if he died, Akenu wanted to figure out the cause. Hearing Akenu's question, Mu Feng's mouth split open, giving Akenu a big smile, and Akenu's eyes lit up. Advertisement. Guess it. Mu Feng faced the red dog, showing 2 rows of big white teeth. The expression on the red dog's face became stiff, and another mouthful of blood poured out of his throat, and the red dog's breath of life quickly passed away. Before he died, he still stared at Mu Feng with wide eyes. Obviously it looks like a dead end. Before he died, he was still talking nonsense to the enemy for a long time. That was what the villain did. As a positive character, Mu Feng could not do such a brain-dead thing. And it's so cool to see that the enemy is dead. In fact, Mu Feng didn't have too much malice towards the red dog. Although his behavior was too extreme, it was the justice of the red dog. But no matter how harmless people are, they are hurtful. What the Akadog should never do is to target from Mu Feng as soon as he enters Marine. Advertisement. Mu Feng never thinks that he is a good person. If you are good to me, I will pay you back 10 times. If you dare to provoke me, Mu Feng will never retaliate back 100 times, but will directly kill you. So from the moment aka Dog started targeting Mu Feng, the result has been doomed, but Mu Feng has not found the right time and opportunity. Congratulations to host for killing Sakazuki, Red Dog. Reward. 237 Advanced Experience Scrolls, 128 Exclusive Armament Haki Experience Scrolls, and 176 Exclusive Experience Scrolls for Observation Haki. Because, Red Dog, Sakazuki belongs to a special life, so the reward Lava Fruit. The voice of the system sounded in Mu Feng's mind. Lava Fruit. The things that burst out are pretty good. Looking at the red dog hung on his arm without aura, Mu Feng armament haki shocked, and the red dog turned into a cloud of blood. After dealing with the red dog, Mu Feng looked up at Sengoku and said, "Sorry, Marshal. The attack by the red dog was too violent. If I don't shoot with all my strength, I'm likely to be injured. I just didn't expect the red dog to connect with me. He couldn't take a single blow. Moreover, on this occasion, Akenu did such a thing and acted on his colleagues, which should be punished by capital punishment." 1.7 Mu Feng opened his mouth and closed all the responsibilities completely. Akaji died, and Sengoku gradually calmed down. The more I think about it, the more I feel that what happened just now is too weird. All of aka Inu's parents died under the sword of a pirate, and the hometown where he lived when he was a child was completely slaughtered by the pirates. It can be said that aka dogs hated pirates since childhood. Even if the Red Dog rebelled against Marine, he would never become a pirate, let alone threaten Whitebeard in exchange for the position of 4 emperors, which is simply ridiculous. As long as you are not a fool, you can't change the position of 4 emperors. And Akenu obviously wouldn't be a fool. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 280. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Complicated eyes were cast on Mu Feng. Although it was not clear what happened, Sengoku knew that Mu Feng must be inseparable from it. Mu Feng is also very clear that he must have made up such a leaky memory, and he must not hide it from Sengoku and Crane, this kind of scheming guy. But so what? Mu Feng just needs a reason. A reason to save Ace has nothing to do with him, so that he can continue to stay in Marine. Even if Sengoku knows that he was the one who saved Ace and calculated the Red Dog, is there any evidence? As for nothing, it simply cannot exist in oneself. As long as Sengoku doesn't want to betray Marine, even if he knows better than anyone else in his heart, he can only pretend to be confused, so Mu Feng doesn't care. Boy, what happened just now? Rayleigh frowned, his eyes full of puzzlement. Looking at Senju Hashirama beside him, he asked. Just now, Senju Hashirama and Mu Feng sang and played together, which made Rayleigh more sure that the relationship between the two is definitely not easy. Senior Rayleigh wants to know. Senju Hashirama smiled and looked at Rayleigh and said, well, the inside story about the Hunters Guild should also be known to Senior Rayleigh. Advertisement. When Senju Hashirama said this, Rayleigh looked surprised. I just asked what happened just now, how did it get involved with the inside story of the Hunter Guild? But he didn't say anything, but pricked his ears, telling him intuitively that there must be a big secret in it. Forget it, let's leave it alone. Senju Hashirama shrugged. This sentence almost didn't choke Rayleigh to death, and looked at Senju Hashirama with a bitter look. The big secret is unknown in front of him. This feeling is simply a scratching. Senior Rayleigh, don't look at me like this. Don't you think that this occasion is not a good one? And I have to explain to Aunt Shaw again when I go back, it's too much trouble. Senju Hashirama smiled and said. Rayleigh then let go of his resentful look. Is it finally here? Senju Hashirama suddenly looked up at the sky, which means that Mu Feng's eyes also looked at the sky. Look at Mu Feng and Senju Hashirama, two strong outrageous guys who both look up to the sky. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Rayleigh, Sengoku, Garp, Letterfield, Whitebeard, everyone was taken aback. Although they didn't know why, they all looked up to the sky. In the blue sky, the clouds above Malin Vander were all blown away by the air waves caused by the battle between Susano and Senju. Nothing. What is that? There is a black spot in the blue sky, and this black spot is gradually enlarged, as if, like a person. When the figure fell a little more, everyone could see the appearance of the figure clearly. It was very burly, messy black hair shawl, with a pair of horns, a scaly tattoo on the left arm, naked upper body, and wide pants on the lower body. Devil. Advertisement. The figure fell from the sky. It was 4 Emperors Kaido. Are you here? Fur. This war is really getting more and more interesting. I don't know what exactly you are fighting for. Bai Shang. Seeing Kaido appear, Doflamingo's eyes flashed. He knew better than anyone what Kaido's arrival meant. Today's war has just begun. Kaido. Sengoku exclaimed, his face even more ugly. Kaido is not Whitebeard. Although Whitebeard is strong, Whitebeard, who has overdrawn his life potential, is not concerned. Compared with Whitebeard at its peak, Kaido is weaker, but also limited. And it's not like Whitebeard who has run out of oil. Kaido now is at its peak. Coupled with his perverted physical strength, he was able to maintain a complete victory for 7 days and 7 nights. Kaido singled out naval headquarters. At that time, Aokiji, Kizaru, and Akadog Admiral came out. The wheels fought for 10 days and nights until Kaido was exhausted before catching him. And now Marine can't find 3 Admiral-class combat power to deal with Kaido. What Sengoku is more worried about is Kaido didn't come alone. Advertisement. Before the start of the battle on the top, Marine sent a surveillance ship to monitor the movements of the red heron beasts. No matter how many surveillance ships were sent, they would be destroyed. So before the start of the war, Sengoku had thought about the situation of red heron beasts. I just didn't expect Kaido to choose such a time point. Boom. With a huge muffled noise, Kaido slammed directly into the ground, smashing a large human-shaped pit. Jumped out of the ground and shook his head. Kaido looked at Whitebeard and laughed. Looks like Lao Su has become even worse again. It doesn't hurt to fall down 20,000 meters. Huh. Ma Lin Fandua was actually destroyed. What does it look like? I didn't expect you to be so capable. Old thing. With that said, Kaido looked around the entire battlefield. Suddenly Kaido's pupils shrank suddenly because he saw Senju Hashirama, and not only that, but also the Thunder God, Anilu, Rayleigh, Revolutionary Dragon of the Hunter Guild, and Letterfield when he first went to see it as a legendary existence on the sea. Ahaha. It's amazing. Kaido laughed excitedly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtlnovel for free. Advertisement.